Good evening, welcome to C&T Collectibles, and this is Friday Sports Card Chart Blast. It could be a good morning, I don't know. You can watch this anytime. I am totally okay with that. So, hope everybody is doing well. This is our series where we look at the price action of our favorite collectibles. Price is truth, doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It only matters what the price is doing, and I'm here to help you with interpreting that if I can. So, anyways, 90 degrees in Minnesota. It's getting a little heated, so I'm enjoying a Toppling Goliath Imperial Golden Nugget Double IPA. So if I start telling you guys by the end of this how much I love you, now you know what prompted that. So anyways, got to get into this. We got a lot of work to do here. Mike Trout, PSA 10, long-term uptrend. Intact, sitting at the bottom of the range here, momentum is down, and selling in the very, very short term. You can see it start to flatten out, but it's way too early to call a bottom on this one here. So looking for something in this zone, hoping for this area to hold in that 4,500 area, but it has not. So we're sitting at $3,300, and if we start breaking this trend, then you could start to see something around $2,000, which would be kind of crazy. I'm actually kind of hoping for that. I can pick up a Mike Trout. I'm just going to be patient though and wait for momentum to start to pick up, at least in the short term. So we'll see how that goes. If we zoom in just a little bit here, you can see the PSA 10 in a downtrend channel. So if you're really patient, then you want it to break out of this channel here. So for that to happen right now, it would take a price above $4,000. So better option is to, if you're aggressive-ish, to buy at the bottom of this range, and then, well, until things change, sell at the top of the range. It's liquid enough, you could probably do that, but it is starting to leak into this this target zone here. So who am I kidding? The target was up here. It's already kind of broken down, but when things change, you got to kind of change your mind. So I'm just gonna watch the downtrend here and see what happens. Wait for that momentum to start to curl up. But anyways, it's getting into a zone where you're hoping that these people that there's a buyer and seller for each one of these. You're hoping the people that sold are willing to step back in and buy. So, but you have a lot of people up here that might just say the heck with it. So we'll see how that kind of plays out here. PSA 9, also any downtrend. There was a line of support they were kind of hoping for it to hang on to, but the downward compression in prices said nah, and it broke back below that. So there's not a lot of buying in this area here. There's just a couple of transactions, and there's not a lot of memory, and so that's what you're looking for. Is not a lot of people remember this price. A lot of people remember this price right around $900. So it could continue down, and we'll see what happens on this one. But if it does hit $900, then you are talking about a sub $3,000 Mike Trout. So again, worth paying attention. It's always important to look at Mike Trout because he'll give you a sense of the health of the hobby overall. If nobody wants to buy Mike Trout, what are the chances they're going to pay a lot of money for anybody else? So, all right, Mookie Betts. This is number 2 in line here. If you're looking at the guys that haven't already locked up a Hall of Fame bid, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout are kind of your 1-2 here, and you can see that the selling has accelerated quite a bit here. The width of the bands has, if you can see behind my fat head here, you can see that the width of the bands on the way up was a very powerful uptrend, and so the width of the bands on the way down, because they're widened, very powerful downtrend. And so we had our momentum sell in this area here, kind of our line in the sand right here, and it just collapsed from there. So our target has been this 400 to just below 400, really 375ish or whatever to 500. So bottom of the range and getting a little bit of a bid here. So this is where purchases have taken place in the past. We'll see if that's the case again here. Otherwise, I mean, it's going to take a lot of buyers to really reverse this here. So I'm a little skeptical that is the bottom. But if you're a Mookie fan, you've been waiting patiently, this is as good a spot as any. Could leak down for a quick $300 sale. I don't know. But right now, your risk reward is favorable in the near term at least. But everything's getting repriced, and we don't know where that finishes. So you had your Hall of Fame guys. Exclude Mike Trout. You're not talking Hall of Fame. You're talking about all-time great. But when you're talking about like Mookie Betts and some of those other guys, actually Mookie's in a tier of his own as well. But Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, not even Bryce Harper, but $400 was kind of the price for guys that have been around for like a decade, and it looks like they're on some sort of Hall of Fame path. And then you had Mookie, and so if those guys come down to $250, everything else is getting dragged down with it. So we'll see where Mookie sits. He should be worth more than those guys, and maybe this is it, maybe it isn't. But with the momentum down and the trend being down, I'm not going to be in any hurry to do much with that one. All right, enough jibber jab. I'm sorry, I got detracted, whatever. Long-term uptrend is broken, so that coincided with kind of our sell signal here. So you're hoping it would just go sideways, and well, I guess this counts as sideways kind of, but it's ugly. So again, longer-term downtrend in place here. You're kind of into that zone here, but again, no need to be a hero on something like this. So again, the price is a lot cheaper than it was at $1,000, but we don't know if that's cheap relative. That's the way you have to look at valuing these things here. So you have to value them against each other. So yeah, it's cheaper than it was, but is it cheap enough? So trend is down. Christian Yelich, all right, momentum down, trend is down. So in 2018, 2019, there was nobody better than Christian Yelich, but injuries, back half of 2019, he missed some, came back last year, probably shouldn't have. This year, just not himself. Doesn't look like it. And so you've got a couple of excellent years with an MVP sandwiched between a lot of kind of mediocre stuff. So, good, mediocre relative to him, right? Excuse me, good player, but is it worth the $300 price? People are saying, excuse me, no. High price $322, currently sitting at about $100 here. So it's in the it's in a pretty decent downtrend. It's at the bottom of the range, which is interesting. But I think what people are at least what I would be waiting for is, let's see him return to some sort of form. Batting 200 isn't going to do it, but if he can start to get up to 260, 270, look like he's going to hit 30, 35 home runs, then I think you can see interest pick back up. But in the meantime here, it is contained within this trend, and so I don't know if it leaks below this. Again, risk reward sets up pretty favorably, but should it break below, you could see a $70-ish Christian Yelich. So you're pretty close to that as it is here, but as it sets up right now, bottom of the range. And if you've been looking for a Yelich, that's a decent enough price, but I think his long-term track is a lot more in question than it was a couple of years ago. Vlad. All right, a lot of question marks about this guy over the long term, but no questions about it right now. Triple Crown MVP, everyone's piling into Vlad at this point. So we had this consolidation contained within an uptrend and a big break above, and just a couple of sales here. So I wouldn't do anything with it here. We've talked enough about Vlad. It's like Vlad, and it's like this is an interesting area to pick it up, and the momentum looks good on him. And so what the heck, buy yourself a Vlad while he's going here. So ride the trend. And so again, as it gets a little bit frothy here, at some point you'll see a little bit of a pullback. But again, if you saw $400 Topps Chrome, it sure wouldn't surprise me here. So you could chase it if you want, or at some point you'll probably get a better thing. Look at his numbers. They're completely legit, but his batting average and balls in play a little extended, and there will be a slump at some point. Could be minor, and you may have a small window of opportunity, but you should have a better opportunity. All right, the no number in a PS 810 uptrend is intact here. Liked it in this area, and continues to go. And again, that momentum looks pretty darn good. It's strong. So again, look for some more highs out of Vlad. It could get a little bit choppy, but again, the general trend is up. And so yeah, all it takes to have a high performing card these days is just be the best player in the league. So it's just that simple here. So May 28th chart review looked at Bryce Harper and this breakdown out of this consolidation and with compression. Said if you're able to get around $90, it's probably a decent price. Today got her pretty close to $90. So and then it quickly was bought. So hopefully he took notes, and that was these 3 or 4 sales right here. Well, that was one of you guys. So all right, but back up to this $150 area, or pretty close to it. So we'll see what happens here. That's one sale. A few people believe this is the price. One person believes this is the price. Could be a little bit of backing and filling, but again, this is a guy that pretty strong Hall of Fame path, and he's not going to command like the $300-400 as a lot of other players kind of on his track do, because he had like 57 base rookies in the top set. So there's a lot of supply out there, but this is kind of the main one, and looks like there's at least interest in this area here. So I don't know where it goes from here. You can have a little bit of upside if it breaks up into this area and above, then that's terrific. It'd probably take him playing pretty well to do that, but for the time being, you're between $150 and $90. So call it 100 and 150, just play that range. All right, Lou Bob. All right, this is what support looks like. So a lot of people were calling for pause down here, just trying to pick the bottom, and I wasn't immune to that as well until he got hurt. So you had a range here, 150 on the upside, $100 on the downside, and the break either way is going to be $50 for the most part. So did have a $50 price target on it, and here you are, close enough. So currently sitting at $48. Low price was about $46. So compressing, if it breaks lower, I don't see how it goes a whole lot lower than this, but it certainly could. It's a weird market. So downtrend is intact. But I do favor upside as you start to hear more about his rehab and all that stuff, and see what see what that brings. So think about prices in the preseason, they go nuts, and then when the regular season comes along, you better produce. And so he's back into silly season form here, so you could see a move back up to $100 as it gets nearer to his return. So, but that's kind of your line in the sand. But honestly, buy it, hold your nose, and if you don't have a Lubob, and and just kind of think about the longer term on that one. Another, his White Sox brother that has been announced as cleared for baseball activities, and now he can be in kind of that silly season form, is Eloy Jimenez. And so he snuck down to an all-time low here for a brief second here, and quickly reversed himself. And so this is kind of your zone right here, upwards of $50 and downside to $30, $29-30 here. So kind of in the middle of that zone. But I think as he starts to ramp up baseball activities, thought he might come back in. I think they say August if everything goes right. I think as you get closer to that, you'll all start to see buying and could push his prices up just a little bit more. So this is an interesting buy zone here. So I like Eloy a lot, and I'm not going to do too much more with him. But if I hadn't done anything, then this is where I would be looking fairly hard. Rafi Devers, all right, Sports Card Splendiferous. Touched on him in his weekly review on Thursday, and I had Rafi loaded up. So great minds think alike, but greater minds go first. So good for you, sir. I like your thinking here. So no, Devers is he's your second best third baseman in the league thus far. 142 or 43 weighted runs created, 16 home runs, just smacking the ball as good a season as he had since 2019, I think. Now the problem is he's only had those 2 good seasons. It's been a little bit mixed in between there. So he's got an old hitting coach back. His strikeout rate's above hovering around 25%. So there are some concerns here, but having a terrific season here. He is 24 years old with over 10 WAR to his name, so it's like a 22-year-old coming up and having a couple All-Star seasons, which, I mean, if that was actually the case, if he came up at 22 and hadn't been around for 5 years already, and had 2 All-Star seasons, and, he was 24 years old, I mean, this would be a $150, $200 card. So recency bias in effect there, but momentum is turning up here. Even as things kind of compress, and this is more of an indecision thing here, I do favor a break to the upside, but we'll let it play out here. So again, kind of interesting. Rafi just looking really, really good here, but up is good, down is bad. And so if you're patient, you can manage your risk pretty well. But the downside, I think, is fairly limited. $40 is kind of, it leaks down below just once in a while here. It doesn't stay down there for too long. So, and then your upside, looking at, $70, $80 or something like that, it kind of creeps into there and then pulls back real quick. So a lot of nothing here, but I think if Rafi keeps doing what he's doing this year, improves that strikeout rate just a little bit, and able to keep that up for another couple of years, then yeah, this card does go up. If indeed the guys that have been around for 6-7 years, if they're priced on our Hall of Fame track, if they're priced as they currently are, then this could be a $120, $150 card down the road. All right, his Chrome, same thing, a lot of compression, outperforming the base card here, so a lot of sideways action here. So again, not much to do. You buy and hold, and probably don't see much out of it. But yeah, up is good, and down is bad. Down is bad, as it always is here. So I don't know which way it goes. It just looks like a lot of sideways action for the time being. The one that is kind of interesting here is the Pink Refractor. Pink Refractors are really getting a lot of love here. Not in number, but they look good. So the brief pause. Heard a lot of screaming. Thought a kid broke his leg, but apparently they're just fighting over an iPad. So I forgot where's that. Pink. All right. Very good looking refractors here. Not number. Getting a lot of love here. So the Chrome and the paper PSA 10 were sitting around $40 a piece, and then the Chrome kind of took away. The Pinks were sitting under. They were sitting at like 15 or something like that in a PSA 9 at least. And they've really taken off and held up here, so a lot of demand for those pinks. So those variations getting some love these days. All right, Juan Soto, US 300, PSA 10, bottom of the range, and a long-term reference point. So linking below that just a little bit. It happened here just a touch, and so you're at the bottom of the of a generous, gentle sloping trend, and you are at the kind of a confluence of those 2 points here. So this is interesting. Momentum is down and continues to stay down here. There was a little attempt to get some short-term buying power, but it hasn't happened yet. So anyways, we had our momentum sell up here, line in the sand at $280. Now you're sitting at $154. So I mean, it's too late to sell. If it breaks this, then you're looking at 100, $125, and really all hell breaks those $60, $70. So Monceau is not having a bad season at all. Not elite last year. I mean, he can have a hot streak like that, but over the course of a season, he's not going to be a 200 weighted runs created player with, you know, a 350 average and 40 home runs. But, you know, can he be a 30, 35 home run guy with a 290 something average? And just, I mean, he could be the best left-handed hitter in baseball for the next decade. So, yeah, you want a piece of him. And this seems like a pretty interesting area here, but with that momentum still trending down. Again, it could be a quick move down here. Who knows? But yeah, make or break for Juan Soto here. You look at his chrome, kind of the same, a little bit, yes, a little bit different. You had a steeper uptrend here. It was outperforming for a while. I think went nuts. We all know that part. So we had our kind of our momentum selling here, and then breaking this trend was, you know, especially the back test. That was your sell. So now it's hitting an area. You know, you had your support zone here, and it is hitting that area. So we'll see if it can hold. Looking at a lot of other things, we've already seen Mookie Betts and stuff. It's leaked back into that area, and the one side of the base card actually went through it just a little bit. So it doesn't mean a whole lot here. Just because there's a lot of buying doesn't mean they're coming back. So, yeah, I think it's at least getting interesting, but there could be some downside to that one. So anyways, trend is down on that one here. So Acuna, Chrome, PSA 10, this is his base. So the top of the range, I think we actually nailed that one, but you know, looking for something back in here, and we're hoping for some sideways action, but it's going down a little bit further, and this would be a weird stopping spot. So if it came down a little bit further, would not surprise me in the least here. So high price of $400 for a hot tick. Now it's almost cut in half, and I think it could go further, but some people could come in. I mean, what more does he have to do here? Third best player in the league right now. What more he has to do to get buying going here? That's kind of the question. Cunha, just the regular update base. So coming back into a range where there's been some buying in the past. Momentum remains down. So we'll see if that's able to hold here. Again, you had that volume spike up, that low volume spike. It's like, sell them if you can. It's tough to sell transactions on the way down here. But anyways, you're getting back to a point where it's like, a lot of things are just at that make or break level here, and it'll be really interesting to watch. And I'll be here every week to help you with that. So I don't know if I'm helpful, but we'll look at it together. How about that? Acuna bat down. This is the one I would love to see. Tag the bottom of the range, if not lower, so I can jump on that one. So anyways, you have your support here. So your risk reward has changed a little bit. Again, your spike up, it's like if you can get rid of it. But looking for some sideways action here. Now, once you come in, once you hit, you know, the above this line, your risk reward is favorable when you hit the line. Now, once you come back into this, you know, your risk is low and your reward is up. And then when you come back into this this zone here, your reward is very limited to the upside, but your risk to the downside. So risk reward is not favorable at this point. So it's kind of like if you were at the top of the range, you know, previously, it's like your risk reward isn't terribly favorable until you break out. Well, same thing when you're back in here. There's probably more downside than upside. As it stands right now, a couple buys to push it back above this line, you're good to go. But if you're not able to do that, then there is some decent downside, and it is thinning out. So I think there's a lot of people that are well, one, it's not traded wildly, but I think there's enough people that are like, maybe I'm not willing to get rid of it at this price. I mean, who knows if sellers these days. Risk reward not super favorable at this time, so we could probably do something a little different with that, but we'll check it out next week. So all right, moving along here, Tatis PSA 10 broken uptrend. Momentum sell kind of in this area, and it's, again, you're at the line of the sand for this one here. It comes back 50 area here, but you know, the trend does remain down. The momentum is down, and there's a little bit of accelerated selling because you know, it's the middle of June. He doesn't have 20 home runs yet. What is he sitting at 19? Maybe he has 20. I don't know this guy. Everything, he's ticking all the boxes so far. So you know, but he's at an area where hopefully some buying. Again, that momentum and that trend remain down. Topps Chrome, a lot of sideways action here. So lower, so we'll see what happens. Maybe you get to the top of the range. Maybe people are. If not, then if you slide through this and you're looking at $150, because there's not a lot of buying in here. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's at an interesting spot to buy as long as you have a quick hook. Because if it goes down here, then you're not going to want to be in it anymore. So if you're in it for the number 1 third baseman in the league, we know number 2 Devers pretty good. Number 3 Jose Ramirez, or number 1 Jose Ramirez. Lindor is supposed to miss, or excuse me, Ramirez is supposed to miss Lindor quite a bit here, but I think it's Lindor missing Ramirez. So I think I said that right. So again, IPA. Double, trend is up, bottom of the range. And so we'll see what the repricing, where everything kind of settles in, then we can kind of figure out what guys are worth, because there's no cash flow earnings or anything like that. You got to compare him to each other. So he's going to be worth. You compare him to like other guys that are his age on kind of a similar track, like Xander Bogaerts and stuff like that. And so if you're doing that, that's a $180 card, so it should be worth probably more. So this is a decent spot here for the PSA 10, but we do have to compare him to his peers that are on a similar track. 28, 29 years old, sitting around 30, 35 wins or 30 wins or something like that, and see where his price stacks up against them. I actually put together the outline of a video for that, and maybe I'll drop it on Saturday, looking at a few players at similar comps, see if you can find some value in there. All right, moving on to basketball. Michael Jordan, PSA 8. Momentum down, trend remains down. Here's your line in the sand right here. It is bouncing off of that, but now we're starting to see it slightly leak below this line. And is it inconceivable to think of a $6,000 PSA 10 after it hit $26,000 just a few months ago? No, it is not. A lot of buying in this area. A lot of buying on the way down. But you can see a lot of these people as well just getting hammered and contribute to the selling, and hopefully it stabilizes. Love to see it stabilize above. So when you have these previous resistance points, you hope that becomes support. And unless we see some buying step in real quick, you're gonna break below that and go right back into this mess here. All right, Luka PSA 10, really for the better part of a year trending down. So momentum is down, the price action is down, bottom of the range, but any rips are to be sold until he breaks above this line here. So kind of crazy, up in this, I think it was $1,500-$1,600. Like, could this be a $1,000 card? And became that, and like, okay, hey, this looks interesting, and he wasn't able to bust out. Tried it a little bit here, but it was a fake move. Tried to you want to see a few sales up here. If you see one, it's like, okay, let me just be patient and see a few more. We never got that, and so thought in here might be kind of interesting, and it was until it broke, and then you kind of have to change your mind and recalibrate things. And now you're sitting at $760. I mean, it was at $900 like a week or two ago, so it keeps sliding, and we're running out of retracement options here. So like 650 is kind of your next spot, and it sounds crazy, considering where it was at, but we're at 760 now. Is $100 down is that number. And that's easier to get to than putting up another $250 to get back to 1,000. So anyways, trend down, momentum down. Might be worth a pop in here, but with the playoffs kind of going the way they're going, I mean, these guys, people are going to move on from basketball maybe for a little bit. And so what's the catalyst to get them going again? So Kevin Durant, what more does he have to do? So monster game this week, sitting at the bottom of the range, and previously that's been a decent spot to buy. We'll see if that is the case here, but if it cannot hang on, have a quick trigger finger, because there's not a lot of buying here, and there's definitely not a lot here. And it sounds nutty, but so does the whole market. This whole market sounds kind of nutty. Sub $100 card. I mean, there's just nothing in here, so it could be a quick move. There is symmetry to markets here, so we'll see how that plays out. But as it stands right now, at the bottom of a range, which has been at least interesting. But again, the question you have to ask yourself, basketball, what is the catalyst to kind of keep things, to get things rocketing here? So, all right, Trae Young, monster game as well, but he's broken that long-term line of support. He's broken it, and really the recent move is just bringing you back up to the underside of that. You want to be back up to the right side of that one, but right now he's just really testing the underside of that, and if selling picks up again, could be looking at a $150 card. So high print of over $800, and currently sitting at $250. Could see some more downside here if he's not able to recapture this upside. So who knows? What if he makes the finals or something like that? So Joel Embiid looking awesome in the playoffs as well. So he's at the bottom of his long-term channel and getting a little bit of a bid here. The trend remains down, but if he can get a little bit more love, he can push himself up, and that should get some buyers more interested in his card and chase things a little bit. All right, LeBron G. Didn't give him a lot of respect last week, kind of glossed over him, and honestly, I'll do that again here. Top of the range, looks like there could be some more downside. All right, went to football and just pulled up card ladder, said who are the biggest decliners for the week. Those are usually at least the most interesting options, and Peyton Manning was one of the top guys in the BGS 9.5, the 98 Bowman Chrome. The Topps Chrome as well was kind of beat up here, so you can see it's just volatile. In a quick move down to the bottom, and it looks like at least an interesting spot for a quick hit. If you are looking at this long term, this is a lot of froth, and you might be better off waiting for down the road. But as of now, right now, it's like, all right, what the heck? Take a shot if that's what you're into. Emmitt Smith, same thing. He had a big move up and then a big move down, and that's what happens. That's why you look for those big fallers, because typically those moves will reverse themselves at some point here. So big fall, big rise, big rise, big fall, and so it's really getting choppy here. So we'll see what happens. It's close up to the bottom of the range, but below this zone, you're dropping down a lot further. So, all right, we got another one. Lamar Jackson, PSA 9. All right, so the first football card I buy in like years. This is what happened. So, heck, he was really cheap to the PSA 10, and he's still cheap to the PSA 10, but the PSA 10 is getting cheaper as well. It went down from $900 to like $750. So, instead of being a $300 card, now it's a $250 card, and the market thinks it's a $115 card. It's like, come on, people. MVP looks terrific, and those first 3 games against Vegas and Detroit. It's like, come on, man. You could do some damage here right off the bat, but no one's buying it here. So I'm hanging on. I only bought one. I don't care. So anyways, compression, and looks like it's just starting to leak below a bit here, and the next level of buying is kind of in that $80 area. So if we can't get someone to come in real quick here, could see some, we could probably draw a trend channel and see, it could be an $80 card here. So, in which case, if it does get to 80, 75, $80, I will buy one more. So, all right, Tom Brady trending down, and this was a big move up, and there's no memory of people buying in here. So, this thing just continues to slide, and if it can't break up, then it probably slides into this zone of, what is that, $8,000 or something like that. So, currently it's at 15,000. So, could it get cut in half again from here? It could happen. $20,000 card. Could keep going. All right, a couple hockey here. Connor McDavid. We looked at him a few weeks ago. He had a range, $3,000 on the bottom, $4,000 on the top. Any break of that will be a $5,000 card or a $2,000 card. And with momentum turning over as it is, looks like it could be a $2,000 card for a minimum target. We'll pay attention and see how that goes, because that's a pretty expensive current day card. Gretzky, big move up here outside the range, and he's sliding his way back down. So another one where $6,000 cut in half, coming back up just a little bit here. But he needs to listen. It doesn't have to like rocket up to bust out of this. It can just go sideways forever and break the trend as well. There's a couple different ways to do it, but for now, it is a downtrend. And if it does make it to the bottom of the previous range, kind of in here where there's been a lot of buying, I was $1,000 or something like that, 1,500. So we'll watch that one, but getting cheaper. So well, in near term at least it's going up, but overall getting cheaper. Yeah, it's releasing some of the steam from that big move up. Tiger Woods. All right, big move up. Don't chase those. Let it come back to a natural level around $500, and it hit that exactly, and then had a nice run here, and then a couple people took advantage of the accident, and someone bought it thinking that could be the end, and it didn't work out for you. So too bad, sucker. Anyways, the prices slid back down and hoping for it to hold that $500 level. And the more times you test these areas, the greater the likelihood that it just breaks. And so now you've got a new area to test. And around that $400 range, and that's what it's doing. So the more it hits against that and the prices compress lower, then it busts down and becomes sub $300. So for now, your downside is $400, and your upside is around that $500 area, and that's where it is until further notice. And we'll wrap it up with Charizard. All right, appreciate your time here, bearing with me. So momentum is down, but look at it start to curl up a little bit, and there's a lot of short-term buying interest, and it's starting to curl up above that longer-term buying interest, which is a solid buy signal. So what we're looking for now is this trend is down, and it's at the top of the range. So your risk reward is not favorable, but with the momentum turning up, it would not surprise me to see some sort of break. And then typically you see is like a retest of that trend or whatever, and then kind of off to the races. So we'll pay attention to that one. But has this one fallen enough? It went from $5,000 and now it's sitting at $1,500, but it made it down to a $700. Almost a $700. Made it down to $900 on this recent move, but we'll see. That's interesting. I kind of like that. Again, these channels are made to be broken at some point here, and this one could do it. So might throw him in the regular rotation and just keep an eye. So that's what I have for you. I appreciate your time, and thanks for doing your homework here. So pencils down, beers up. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.